Coming up on Network Africa. Mali mob burns suspected assailant after thwarted militant attack as verified footage of incident emerges. Protesters march through Ghana's capital demanding audit of voters' register. Plus, U.S. Foreign Secretary Antony Blinken meets with Egyptian counterpart in Cairo to discuss bilateral ties as Gaza ceasefire. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. We begin in Mali, West Africa, where there's uneasy calm in Bamako, the capital, after authorities gave assurances that the army had thwarted an insurgent attack on a military training school and other areas of the city. A police agent who did not wish to be named said there were gunshots around the airport and a military base close to it, while the security source confirmed gunfire in several neighborhoods, including areas close to the main airport. The mood in Bamako remains tense as shops stayed shut and intimidating groups of youths patrol the streets. According to eyewitness accounts, a cigarette seller was set on fire because he was wearing a bullet belt, making people suspect that he was involved in the attack. Meanwhile, footage posted to the social media accounts of Al-Qaeda affiliate JNIM shows an armed individual setting fire to a Boeing 737 with Republic of Mali written on its side. Other footage depicts a gunman firing in an empty airport hall with smoke rising from an airport hangar. The Transport Ministry temporarily restricted access to the airport to avert any risks, urging people to remain calm. An airport employee speaking anonymously confirmed that staff were kept inside the building during the incident. JNIM has claimed responsibility for the broader attack, which also targeted the military training school and other strategic points in Bamako. Elsewhere now in Ghana, the main opposition National Democratic Congress party has held nationwide protests against alleged voter register irregularities, demanding an independent forensic audit to rid the record of errors. NDC party leaders say the Electoral Commission transferred voters to different voting stations illegally without their knowledge, compromising the integrity of the register. Dressed in red and black, thousands of supporters marched through major streets in the capital, Accra, blaring reggae and campaign songs from loudspeakers and calling on international bodies, Ghana's Peace Council and religious, as well as civil society groups to intervene. They presented petitions to Parliament on the electoral agency in Accra. Voters head to the polls on December 7th to elect a successor to President Nana Akufo-Addo, whose 8-year tenure ends in January. The election will pit ex-President John Mahama of the NDC against current Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia of the ruling New Patriotic Party.
December 7th, when I go to my polling station and I show my voter's ID, they will not tell me that my name is not in that particular polling station, but my name is elsewhere, somewhere in Dodowa. And that I should go to Dodowa and go and vote there. That is the reason why we are calling for a forensic audit, because everything has shown, and including the EC official who went to TV3 the last time, your sister station, and also admitted all these abnormalities.
Ghana needs peace. Ghana is the gateway to Africa. Why is the EC merging with the current leadership to just rob Ghanaians of what they want? The voice of the people is the voice of the Lord. They should be careful. We have only one Ghana. Whatever happens, they also have family members within this country. So they should be very careful. We don't want anything. All we want is they should audit the register for us to have an exclusive, very well planned register that we know we are going to an election, so that when we win, we know we've won. When we lose, we will also admit we've lost.
It means that you cannot transfer anybody in absentia. To the extent that EC has come to admit that there has been transfer of some persons who are saying they were not aware of that activity, questions the credibility of the system the EC is using. So they are asking that allow the entire register to be audited forensically, so that everybody will have that belief and confidence that we are going to the election with a free and clean register, credible enough to withstand the upcoming election. You said no.
Let's get more on this. Joining us from the Ghanaian capital, Accra, is journalist Maxwell Agbagba. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
Right, so give us a sense of what the situation is like now in Accra.
Well, okay, so I missed you a little bit, but you want to have a sense of what is happening in the capital. Well,
yes,
the capital, it's very calm. Today, people are going about their normal duties and activities. That is basically the countdown to the ultimatum now given to the Electoral Commission, Ghana's Electoral Commission. So the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, has given the Electoral Commission 1 week to give them a response on the petition that they presented to them yesterday. Well, key amongst the demands of that petition is for a forensic audit, an independent forensic audit. The second demand of it is for the Electoral Commission to engage all stakeholders of the elections, including international partners and organizations like the ECOWAS, the African Union, the UNDP, the USAID, and other interest groups. So they want them to convene a meeting and discuss some of the concerns that they've raised about the voters register. Also, they want the Electoral Commission to publish the full details of that auditing. So in the capital today, it is calm here in Accra and in the other 15 regions of Ghana. It's basically the countdown to the ultimatum given by the main opposition party now.
Well, and before the storm calmed down, we understand there were protests in other areas besides Accra. Tell us more about that.
Well, the protests happened across all of Ghana's 15 regions. And after that, the Ghana Police Service released a statement and said that it was peaceful in all the regions, with the exception of the Ashanti regional capital, which is Kumasi. There, the police officers, the Ghana Police Service tells us that the protesters did not comply with the pre-arranged agreement where they would terminate their protest. Some of them forced their way to the offices of the Electoral Commission there. And that was the point when some chaos broke out, which led to the shattering of the EC, the Electoral Commission's glasses there. We're told that one police officer also got injured in the process, but it was largely peaceful across all of the regional capitals in Ghana. In fact, prior to the protest, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, urged the protesters to go about the demonstration in a peaceful manner. He says that is very important and very crucial, especially because we have just about 80 days.
Apologies for the freeze there. I've been talking to Ghanaian journalist Maxwell Agbagba, who's been giving us an update on the situation in Ghana following protests in some cities across the country, where protesters are calling out agencies involved in the upcoming elections, especially with the voter register, saying it's wrought with errors. We listened to some people who are actually complaining that when they got to the places where they were supposed to vote, when they were checking up their names, they told them that their names were in other areas and they had to go there to vote. People are complaining that this is not right. They're calling out the government. They're calling out the election agencies and other groups that are involved to ensure that things are made right. So several of them, you can see the protest there, youths manning the streets, youths marching and protesting against the situation. They're demanding for transparency, and that's what the Ghanaian journalist Agbagba has been speaking us about. Elsewhere now, anti-war groups Code Pink and World Beyond War led scores of protesters in a march in the permanent mission of South Africa to the United Nations in New York City. The demonstration aimed to disrupt the start of the UN General Assembly and draw attention to the ongoing conflict in Israel and Palestine, saw protesters gathered in front of the South African mission calling for international action against Israel. The protest was timed with the upcoming UNGA debate on a resolution urging Israel to end its presence in Palestinian territories. The resolution follows a ruling by the International Court of Justice that found Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem in violation of the international law. The protesters are advocating for the General Assembly to consider a uniting for peace resolution if Israel does not comply, which could lead to sanctions against the country and actions against the United States of America.
You are gaining the moral mantle of leadership of the entire earth, and you cannot stop now. For to do so would be to betray the legacy of Nelson Mandela, who said on numerous occasions, the freedom of South Africa is never complete until the freedom of Palestine is complete.
Millions of us are protesting around the world. The vast majority of humanity is on the right side of this issue. We now have ICJ rulings and ICC actions that support us. International and Israeli human rights organizations are with us. Governments around the world clearly see the lies of Western propaganda. It is clear that our government will not do the right thing on its own. Therefore, it is our responsibility to do what we can to pressure our government that funds, arms, and supports the horrors that we are witnessing every day to relent.
More on the crisis in the Middle East. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has met with Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati in Cairo. The top U.S. diplomat's visit comes as the region remains on high alert due to the risk that the Gaza war might assume larger proportions, particularly after militant group Hezbollah promised to retaliate against Israel, accusing it of detonating pages across Lebanon. Israel has declined to respond to the questions about the explosions. At least 9 people died and nearly 3,000 others were wounded. Mr. Blinken also met with Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi earlier in the day. Meanwhile, Egypt is appreciative of Russia's role in international affairs. This is according to Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati, who has a conversation with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow on Monday. Mr. Abdel Atti noted that the cooperation in the fight against terrorism, as well as the new format of relations based on BRICS, and thanked Russia for its assistance in Egypt's accession to the association. Mr. Lavrov, for his part, says the talks are aimed to focus on a full range of bilateral relations under the Comprehensive Partnership and Strategic Cooperation Treaty, as well as the international and regional agenda. This agenda includes the situation in the Gaza Strip, Syria, Libya, Sudan, and the Horn of Africa. 5 countries have become full members of the organization this year, with Russia at the helm of affairs, including Egypt, Iran, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Ethiopia. Welcome back. China continues to cherish its relations with Nigeria and continues to cultivate the relationship by acknowledging the country's national days, which have the same date, October 1. For China, the day is known as the day of the founding of the People's Republic of China, and for Nigeria, it's the Independence Day. Consul General Yan Yuqing welcomed guests to the event earlier this week.
It's a day for the celebration of close ties between China and Nigeria, one in which China celebrates the growth of diplomatic, economic, and cultural ties between the two. China is about 5,000 years old, but the new China was founded in 1949.
Representatives, Nigeria.
Consul General Yan Yuqing, revealing how warm her welcome to Nigeria was, highlighted China-Africa growth since Nigeria's independence in 1960, an example of which is the success of President Bola Tinubu's recent visit to the country, during which he witnessed the signing of various agreements.
China-Africa and China-Nigeria relations are at their best in history, with fruitful results that are evident to all. As long as we stand shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, passing the baton of China-Africa friendship across generations, we will surely navigate the great ship of China-Africa solidarity and cooperation toward a bright future.
Her speech was followed by goodwill messages from state governors of Abia and Cross River, presented via video recording. The Deputy Governor of Ogun State, representatives of other states and government representatives, and a special one from the Lagos State Governor, represented by the Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadri Hamzat.
Beyond economic cooperation, I also want to commend the Chinese community for being a valuable part of our society, promoting cultural diversity and enriching the vibrant fabric of Lagos. We have witnessed the growth of Chinese language schools, cultural centers, and businesses in Lagos, enriching our city and promoting understanding between our people. Chinese community in Lagos has also become an integral part of our social fabric, contributing to the rich diversity that defines our great state. The warmth and unity between our people are a testament to the strength of our shared values and common aspiration.
A publication titled Understanding Friendship and Cooperation, starting a new chapter of China-Nigeria cooperation, was launched, and a special recognition given to individuals who've made outstanding contribution to the growth of Nigeria-China relations. Amarachi Ubani, Channel Television News.
The Lagos State government has called on health practitioners to desist from all forms of quackery to ensure safety and improve diagnosis of patients. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Aki Abayomi, made this comment at the 2024 World Safety Day held at the Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. Professor Abayomi says anyone caught disguising as a medical practitioner or getting involved in quackery will face severe sanctions.
World Patient Safety Day is an opportunity to raise public awareness and foster collaboration between patients, health workers, policymakers, and healthcare leaders to improve patient safety. In Lagos State, the Health Facilities Monitoring and Accreditation Agency under the State Ministry of Health brought together health practitioners, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders to discuss how best to improve diagnosis for patient safety.
For every 50 patients, one patient that we see will suffer harm from the care that we're giving to the patients. So I think it is high time we put all efforts to ensure that we improve our diagnostic accuracy.
When a farmer knocks on your door, it's also in collaboration to make sure you are complying with the regulatory standards to make sure that Lagos State actually becomes what we want it to become, and that is the primary medical tourist center in Africa, and also to deliver universal health care to all.
The Oniru of Iru Kingdom, Omogbolo Lawal, narrates the case of a young girl who was wrongly injected. He also used the opportunity to call for better healthcare services for the people.
I have had cases of people with abscess. One young wife was growing up, she was like 2.5, and she lost a leg. And so many other cases like that. We must find a way to improve diagnosis for patient safety and accuracy.
On the part of medical practitioners, there's need to educate patients about their medical condition and safety.
We also need to educate patients. That's critical. I always tell people that when people understand their problems, the problem is 50% solved. If you give your patient detailed information and assist them, you will have compliance.
The challenges in diagnosis are diverse. Globally, diagnostic errors contribute significantly to patient harm, and these errors may result from inadequate resources, human factors, or system-level inefficiencies. The State Ministry of Health says it's ready to do more for the people.
In Lagos State, we have implemented concrete measures to tackle these challenges, but we acknowledge that more needs to be done. We're also enhancing training to our healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, laboratory scientists, and allied health workers.
Not following standard procedure is also a form of disarm to the patient. So for us in the Ministry of Health, we've established several projects and programs to ensure that we limit the degree to which our practitioners can deviate from the standard of practice that we establish. We are part of the world, and so we operate under the WHO treaties in terms of healthcare delivery.
This year, the theme is improving diagnosis for patient safety with the slogan, "Get it right, make it safe." The Lagos State government is kicking against all forms of quackery in the health sector in ensuring patient safety and improving health outcomes.
A report released by the United Nations is highlighting the world's failure to meet gender equality targets under the Sustainable Development Goals. Titled Progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, the Gender Snapshot 2024, the report presented by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs and UN Women brings up key challenges in advancing gender equality globally. The Assistant Secretary General for Economic Development, Navid Hanif, sees this as an overall lack of progress on the SDGs. The report underscores that only 1 in 4 parliamentary seats worldwide is occupied by a woman, signaling an ongoing gender gap in political representation. The UN committee warned that without significant progress, the realization of the 2030 agenda will remain elusive. The report urges global leaders to take concrete steps to accelerate progress towards gender equality, particularly as 2024 shapes up to be a pivotal electoral year with more than 100 countries poised for national elections.
The reality is that our shortfall in gender inequality, mirrors our overall lack of progress on the SDGs. And this report shows that none of the SDG 5 indicators on gender equality has been met. Today, 1 in 5 girls still marry before age 18. Women carry an unfair burden of unpaid domestic and care work, spending 2.5 times more hours a day on it than men. Only 1 in 4 parliamentary seats globally are held by women. And we know unless these targets are met, full realization of the 2030 agenda will remain elusive.
Countries that have enacted domestic legislation have lower rates of intimate partner violence than those without legislation, 9.5% compared to 16.1%. However, as we present this report, the reality that progress is far too slow is also very evident, and we remain off track.
And that's it on Network Africa. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.